So we want to welcome everybody watching us on social media also. Welcome to the African History Network show. It is Sunday, January 29th, 2023, and we are live. When I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Friday, the YouTube video of Roland show from Friday, where we showed the video that was released by the Memphis Police Department of the arrest and beating of Tyre Nichols, and then we gave analysis as well. That video has been viewed over 300,000 times in just a couple of days since January 27th. So you can watch the full show, Roland Martin on Facebook, Roland Martin on the YouTube. I'm going to share a couple excerpts of the show here on today's show as we provide additional analysis as well. Okay, so the calling number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. So I'm also going to share an interview that CNN did with Benjamin Crump, and that was today on The Union with Dana Bash. And Benjamin Crump talked about how the police officers, 5 African-American police officers, the quickness in firing is a blueprint now what needs to happen when you have heinous crimes like this committed by police officers. When you have incidents like this, it shows what can take place, a quickness in the reaction. Now, also, he's called for, Benjamin Crump, as well as others, Biden, many activists have called for a renewed effort to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. I talked about that on Roland Martin Unfiltered. We're going to talk about that here some on today's show as well. Now, the Memphis Police have disbanded the Scorpion unit also. The Scorpion unit is the elite unit that was in that area where Tyre Nichols was, and he was about roughly about 100 yards away from home. He was just trying to get home. The New York Times I've read numerous articles dealing with this. I've been following this even before the release of the video on Friday. But Memphis Police disband unit whose officers were charged in Tyre Nichols' death. Okay, so we're going to talk about the street crimes operation to restore peace in our neighborhoods unit, better known as Scorpion. And there's been a flood of complaints that have come in after this video has been released, complaints from citizens there in the community about alleged abuses that say from this also. All right. A good article that we're going to discuss as well. Tyre Nichols' death must galvanize efforts to reform police, he says, Attorney Benjamin Crump. And we talked about this with Reddit Hudson, former St. Louis police officer and the police reform activist Reddit Hudson on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And one of the things that's missing from this conversation, and I actually said this, we don't have that clip, but I actually said this. There are more what out of the conversation, and I've seen nonstop coverage of this on MSNBC, and I've seen various activists, the various Black Lives Matter activists, things like this, right? What gets left out of the conversation is that there are more white people killed each year by police in the United States than African Americans. Now, yes, we're disproportionately killed, and African Americans who are unarmed are 3 times as more likely to be killed than white people. Okay, but when you look at raw numbers, every year there are more white people shot and killed by police than there are African Americans. Where's the body cam footage? Where's the dash cam footage? Where's the cell phone footage of the white people shot and killed by police? Why don't we see that played on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News? Why don't those videos go viral? Why don't we see that? Where are the videos? Are they hidden in Al Capone's vault? And the reason why I bring that up is because if it was made known that white people also have a problem with police, but it's just hidden, okay? Because if you just make this a black thing, and this is something I've said over and over again, and for some reason, a lot of people really don't understand this. If you make police reform just a black thing, it's not going to happen. Because many white people think the police are just doing their job and enforcing the law on African Americans. Okay. And the reason why you had to be heavy handed with them, the reason why you had to get out of hand. Now, maybe not specifically, they may not say that with Tyre Nichols. That's just blatant savagery and abuse. Okay. But when you have other things, it could be Eric Garner or other cases, and they're willing to give the police a pass. Well, to them, the police are supposed to protect them from us. So if you just make police reform a black thing, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen, especially when you need 60 votes in the Senate, and there's only 2.5 black people in the entire U.S. Senate out of 100 U.S. senators. So why do you say 2.5? Well, because Senator Tim Scott, Black Tea Party Republican from South Carolina, half the time he doesn't act like he's black. He's the one that blocked the George Floyd Justice Policing Act when it was in negotiations with the Senate in the first place. He's the one who blocked the bill. And he voted against Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to be on the U.S. Supreme Court. He voted against the American Rescue Plan. He voted against the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. He voted against the Freedom to Vote Act, which was Joe Manchin's voting rights bill. Okay. So usually he votes against our own interests. That's why I say half. So we're going to break this down on today's show. We're going to be joined by Professor Kaba Kamene, one of my teachers, coming up at the halfway mark in our second hour. We're going to talk about the we'll discuss the Hapi Day of Black Excellence in New York. Hapi Day of Black Excellence, February 4th, 2023 in New York City. We have the information on our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, dealing with the Hapi Day of Black Excellence. Also, we're going to discuss Attorney Benjamin Crump has filed a lawsuit against the Florida Department of Board of Education in regards to the blocking of the AP African American History course being taught. Okay, we'll discuss that, and we're going to give you a preview of our new online African history class that's going to start up the weekend of Saturday, February 12th. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. All right, stand by. Bathroom break in 4 minutes. Stand by. Bathroom break in 4 minutes. Share this broadcast on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. Stand by. Okay, everybody share this broadcast. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number. Have a question or comment. Stand by. You can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Stand by. Back from break in minutes. All right, back from break in 1 minute. Stand by. Back from break in 1 minute. Stand by.
Facts. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. Now, we deal with a number of topics here on the African History Network show. We do recurring events, history, and much, much more. We're going to give you an update on self-preservation. We have to extinguish the fire of white supremacy consequences. Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation. Okay. The calling number is 313-778-7600. All right, you can kill the music. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. You kill the music, please. Okay, I want to go to our first story here. We have somebody on line one. We'll go to the phone lines in just a minute. All right. On the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior, what you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Let's go to this. I want to go to some updates here, some quick updates. So this comes from NBCnews.com. I've been looking at updates from NBC, Washington Post, some different outlets. Tyre Nichols video updates. Memphis police deactivate unit behind traffic stop. Protesters gathered in Memphis, New York, and other cities after officials released 4 videos of the fatal beating. So the protests have overwhelmingly been nonviolent protests. Okay. Peaceful protesters take to Memphis streets. Demonstrators returned to the streets of Memphis on Saturday with a largely peaceful stand against the elements of police culture that enabled the death of Tyre Nichols. His family had asked the crowds to remain nonviolent. The Memphis Police Department said it has permanently deactivated its Scorpion unit. Okay, now Scorpion stands for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods. It was instituted in 2021 by the current police chief, Saralyn Davis, CJ. We're going to go to an article from the New York Times on that in just a minute. Now, experts and veterans of police leadership said they saw a series of mistakes and aggressive tactics in the way Tyre Nichols was treated by Memphis officers. Now, we talked about this also on Roland Martin Unfiltered as well. And I was on the panel with Matt Manning and also Brianna. I was on the panel with 2 attorneys. And we saw the video real time as it was being released. Experts emphasize that they weren't Memphis mistakes. Experts emphasize they weren't Memphis mistakes or Black police officers' mistakes. They are elements of American police culture. They are elements of American police culture. Now, even as protests continued, healing began as family and friends reflected on Tyre Nichols as an avid skateboarder and photographer. So Washington Post has information about this that shows him in a different light and shows him as a happy person, gets more into his life. He liked to photograph sunsets. He was an avid skateboarder, things of this nature. He had his mother's name tattooed on his arm as well. NBCnews.com also has a good article that deals with who Tyre Nichols really was, okay? So that people see another side of him as opposed to being allegedly beaten to death by 5 African-American police officers. And they're Black phenotypically, but obviously not in conscious thought. Otherwise, they would not have treated him that way. Now, even as protests continued, healing began as family and friends reflected on Tyre Nichols as an avid skateboarder and photographer. Sidewalk surfing on 4 wheels, his mother said, was his life's passion. Okay. Now, Tennessee lawmakers are to introduce police reform measures. This was an update from Saturday, about 8:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, January 29th. A trio of Democratic state lawmakers on Saturday vowed that police reform legislation would be forthcoming in the wake of Tyre Nichols' fatal beating at the hands of law enforcement. State Representative Joe Towns Jr., State Representative Joe Towns Jr., State House Democratic Caucus Chair John Ray Clemens, and Representative G.A. Hardaway, all of Memphis, Tennessee, held a news conference to announce the measures. The three said it will address implicit bias training, limits on officers who face termination or discipline in one jurisdiction, then transfer to another jurisdiction, ongoing mental evaluation, which is extremely important, stress job being a police officer, especially in a big city, a major city. Access to on bad or deceitful officers for juries, more selective hiring, reevaluation of the need to make arrests and traffic stops, because all this beating that we saw stemmed from a traffic stop. Okay, and I commented on that traffic stop on Roland Martin Unfiltered also, and reevaluation of the need for low-level traffic stops themselves. So check that out, that reporting from NBCnews.com. Tennessee lawmakers to introduce police reform measures. Okay, so hopefully that will pass and get signed into law. I want to go to set things up here. Let's go to this article quickly. Then we're going to go to clip number 1. Doug. Doug's my board operator today. So if you call in, the call-in number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. You're going to talk to Doug, who's our board operator here at 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. So Memphis Police disband unit whose officers were charged in Tyre Nichols' death. Mr. Nichols' family and activists had demanded the scuttling of the group, the Scorpion Unit, which patrolled high crime areas of the city. So this article was is from Saturday, January 28th, updated Sunday, January 29th. The Memphis Police Department said on Saturday, January 28th, that it had disbanded a specialized group known as the Scorpion Unit, after 5 of its officers were charged with second-degree murder in the death of Tyre Nichols, who was 29 years old, who was shown on video being kicked, struck, and pepper sprayed by those officers. And all 5 of those officers are African American. Now, there was one white officer who was there on the scene who said, allegedly over the radio, when they were trying to catch him. There was an initial altercation with Tyre Nichols, and he was pulled out of the car, and then he was pepper sprayed, he was kicked and beaten, then he gets away, he runs away. And this white officer allegedly said, if you catch up, I hope you stomp him, or something to that effect. SOTMP, stomp him. So many people, Benjamin Crump, Tyre Nichols' father, etc., are calling for charges against that white officer as well. So we will see if charges are brought against the white officer. Okay, so Mr. Nichols' family and activists in the city had demanded that the police department dismantle the unit, which deployed officers to patrol high crime areas, of the city of Memphis, Tennessee, and had drawn scorn in the communities it served even before Mr. Nichols' death this month. Now, it's good that the police chief, Sarah Lynn Davis, disbanded the unit, but many people in the community are saying that their complaints previously fell on deaf ears. And maybe if they had already disbanded this unit, then maybe Tyre would be alive today. Okay, so it took this type of savage beating and somebody to die, and it to be recorded by overhead cameras, recorded by 2 body cameras. Okay, now we know that at least one of the body cameras of one of the officers was not activated. Another camera of one of the officers involved in the beating was activated but fell off. So it took all this to get this unit disbanded. All right, let's continue here. Now, okay. So patrol higher crime areas of the city and had drawn scorn in the communities it served even before Tyre Nichols' death this month. Now, the Memphis Police Department said in a statement on Saturday, January 28th, quote, "It is in the best interest of all to permanently deactivate the Scorpion unit." Okay, now, if it's in the best interest of all, then prior to Tyre's death, whose interest was it in to keep the unit when people are complaining about the unit? We'll continue this on the other side of the break. We'll go to your phone lines, also. We'll go to line 1, Norm on line 1, and Carl on line 2. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. In our second hour, we're going to be joined by Professor Kaba Kamene. You've seen him in the Hidden Colors documentaries. You've seen him in the Black Friday documentary series with me. You've seen him in Elementary Genocide Part 3 with me from director Raheem Shabazz. He's going to be my guest in the second hour. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. All right, stand by, everybody. Break in 4 minutes. How's everybody doing today? Okay. If you like this type of information, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Also visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, and register for the online classes that I teach. So we had a great session of classes this weekend. I taught two online classes, our 16-week Ancient Kemet, the Moors and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach school. We had a great session on January 28th. Register for the full course right here. It's on sale $60, regularly $130. Okay. And then we had a free class session on Saturday also. So you can watch that free class session. Click right here to watch the free class session and the full course, because this helps support the African History Network, helps support the research. Then we had a excellent class today from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1800 to 1968. And we have a bundle pack where you get both classes for $100. Okay, I'm going to post a link here on the thread of the broadcast. Let me see. We get the bundle pack information. Right here for the bundle. Okay. Register here for the bundle. You get both classes for $100. Even after the course is over with, you can go back and watch the entire course. Okay. A year from now, 2 years from now, you can watch the entire class. Okay. Back from break in 2 minutes. Stand by. We're going to post a link here and our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, and you can register for the online classes right there at our website. All right, we've got SB watching. We've got SB. Give us a shout out. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a heart. Give us a like on this broadcast. We got Sophia, Cynthia Clark, Tyre watching as well. Bindum, Sheldon, Smith, Kenya J. Randall, John Ray, just a few of the people watching. Who's that up at the top? Ear Hustler, just a few of the people watching.
910, the Superstation, Detroit's only African-American talk radio. We got the topics, the guests, the opinions, and the facts.
I'm your host, Brother Mike. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We do recurring events and histories and much, much more. We're going to give you an update on what's going on. This is about self-preservation. We have to extinguish the fire of white supremacy. See, that's without consequence.
Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation.
All right, welcome back to the African History Network show. Okay, calling number 31778 7600 31778 7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Okay, let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Norm line 1. Hey Norm, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding. Tell us where you're calling from, Norm.
Yeah, Doc, I'm calling in from Tampa, Florida. I got
okay, Florida.
Put you on the spot here a little bit, but comment and several questions and stuff. So I'll try to make it quick. But the point is that you talk about there's no way the chief should be put off the hook here, because you're talking about a high crime. This unit designed to go into high crime neighborhoods and do what? Beat up people? That's what they've been doing. And there's a case, a very interesting case by the United States Supreme Court, 1989. It's called the City of Canton versus Harris. And it deals with the failure to train. The failure to train represents no training at all. It deals with police abuse and those sort of things. And you see that this mindset of these police officers is an extension of what happens to policing at all levels throughout this country, whether it is street policing or sweep policing or regulatory policing. And that's where I have to put you on the spot here, because I know you talk about what happened to Tyre is no different from what happens to them. What doctors have been complaining about, this targeting by the Drug Enforcement Agency to call doctors drug dealers after they're prescribing Medicaid. We had a very interesting case that went to trial just recently, Dr. Leslie Pompey here in Detroit, and he was acquitted for this same thing. And when three black doctors
he was acquitted for what? He was
acquitted. Hold on, don't cut me off, please.
Norm, I'm asking you a question. Norm, I'm asking you a question. He was acquitted for what? He was acquitted regarding what?
Pardon? A drug trial. A doctor who was performing anesthesiology for the anesthesiology and prescribing as authorized. And they came in 7 years ago, raided his office, and it took 7 years for him to get justice. Read about this case, Leslie Pompey, MD from Haiti. And we see this around the country. 600 black doctors are now in prison today for practicing medicine. And they want to use this word overprescribing. That's what they do. Or you overprescribing what?
Right.
Let me tell you something. When you have overprescribing, when you have black people complaining that the studies that show that black folks are oftentimes underprescribed medication, yet these DEA come in and steal our property and take our property and some of us have never gone to trial. Just come and steal it and stuff.
Okay.
And that kind of thing. And yet these people, when it comes down to rolling, you said no, an Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Let me tell you something. They kept, especially, we wrote an article about Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, how they stood up against this sport. And, you know, we can't hear from them. It seems like rolling is just not filtered, it becomes unfiltered, but it comes filtered when it talks about the descendants of the Jews. Read these articles in our blog. You are within the norms.com. And just stop cutting us off. Put us on sometime. You know,
thanks for calling, Norm.
Stokes put us on. Please put us on.
Thanks for calling, Norm.
You can express not me.
Thanks for calling. Thanks for calling. All right, he's conflating two issues, but okay. Thanks for calling. He's conflating two issues here, but okay. Let's go to the next caller. Let's go to Carl. Carl, line 2. Carl, welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from.
Yes, I'm calling from Southfield, Michigan. Yeah, my brother, thank you. I listen to you quite often. I rarely call in, but you be putting the knowledge down, you know, with the history and everything. And I wish people pick up on that. A very interesting show.
Yeah, me too.
You know, this is a sad situation. No, well, this is an evil situation with these police officers.
Right.
But that's always been in this country, okay? They don't want to pass no George Floyd deal. No, they're not going to do it. Period. This is how they roll. This is how our country is. You know, you would think after George Floyd and all around the world, the rally behind that, and our Congress did nothing, and the Senate did nothing. Okay,
well, hold on. You said who did nothing? Well, so slow down, Carl. You said who did nothing? You said
our Congress, the Senate.
No, that's not true. No. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed the House of Representatives March 3rd, 2021 by a vote of 220 to 212. All the Republicans voted against the bill. So to say that we got to be clear on this. The only the people who wrote the bill. Hold on, slow down. It's important for people to understand what happened, because that ties into the results of the midterm elections that just took place. It was Democrats that wrote the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, the bill, and it was only Democrats that voted for the bill.
Yeah.
All of the Republicans voted against the bill in the House of Representatives.
Yes, I know that.
No. You just said, it sounded like you said that Congress didn't do anything. That's false.
No, what I wanted to say was, as a whole, our government wants to do nothing. Yeah, there's people in the government wants to do things. Yes, they want to do it. I know the Congress, you just put it down. I understand the Democrats voted, but all of these Republicans voted no when it came to the Senate.
So we have to be very specific on what we say.
Both of them, I understand that.
Carl, listen. It did not come up for a vote in the Senate. Senator Tim Scott blocked the bill. It did not come up for a vote. So we have to be specific on what we say, because a lot of people are already confused. Okay, go ahead and finish your point.
Okay. Yeah, but I'll be specific about it. I understand what you're saying, but I just said our government wants to do nothing, period. Some people want to do it. The police is eerily quiet about it, really. You really look at it. This is what you've seen. First of all, when you're at the top, you live a double life or a triple life. You're very psychotic. You always look behind your back. You see these guys are getting their lives together. All these police officers showed up on the scene. Knew this man had got his brains beat out, and they did nothing about it. That's okay with some people. That's what I mean. That's okay. But here's the thing about it, really. We can't do that to everybody. And you have a right to protect yourself. These are not police officers. That's not policing. That's how you have a right to protect yourself. That's why the boy ran. But here's the thing. People will come after you, and people will do stuff to you. If they can't get to them, they'll get to somebody. They just did it to them. They're going to get enough of snatching people out their cars and doing this. People go about their daily lives not doing no crime with all these weapons in this country. Why would you even want to think of that? First of all, you put your other coworker in danger. Cops that are doing their job. Why would you do this?
So what happens
to
is
do this, you want nobody to do evil to you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying. People, this country is loaded with all kinds of stuff, mass shootings every day, and you got some nerve. 5 of y'all brothers, y'all whole your family look up to you.
Right.
And you did something like this and act like nothing happened.
All right,
Ain't
Carl.
that something?
All right, Carl. Thanks for calling. Keep listening, okay? Keep listening. All right. Thanks for calling. Okay. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Okay, I got to move on because we have Professor Kaba coming up at the top of the hour. Professor Kaba Kamene, one of my teachers. Police officials said the decision had been reached after listening to the decision to disband the Scorpion unit. Police officials said the decision had been reached after listening intently to the family of Tyre Nichols, community leaders, and the uninvolved officers who have done quality work in their assignments. Sarah Lynn Davis, the Memphis police chief, met with other members of the unit on Saturday, January 28th. Quote, the officers currently assigned to the unit unreservedly with this next step, the department said in the statement. It added that while the quote heinous actions of a few cast a cloud of dishonor on the unit, it is imperative that we, the Memphis Police Department, take proactive steps in the healing process for all impacted. Okay, so the unit lawyers for Mr. Nichols' family called the decision appropriate and proportional. The unit, its full name, Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods Unit, had been central to efforts by city and police officials to combat persistent violence and crime at a time when the city's murder rate had been climbing, stoking fears about public safety. Mayor Jim Strickland of Memphis, Tennessee, had highlighted the unit's importance to his crime-fighting strategy during the State of the City address a year ago. Now, the Scorpion unit was launched in 2021 by Memphis Police Chief Sarah Lynn Davis, just months after she took over the department. The group consisted of 40 officers who drove unmarked vehicles, making traffic stops and hundreds of arrests, as well as seizing weapons. Now, Tyre Nichols was stopped on the evening of January 7th as he was headed home to the home he shared with his mother and stepfather in the southeastern corner of Memphis. The video footage released on Friday, January 27th, captured Tyre Nichols' interactions with officers, and it showed him being pulled out of his car, and he can be heard saying, "I'm just trying to go home." We'll continue this on the other side of the break. We're going to share a couple of segments from Roland Martin Unfiltered. You listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Okay, share this broadcast on your social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in as well. You can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show. Also visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Register for our online class. I teach 16-week online class, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We did a free class session on Saturday. We just posted the link here. You can register for that and watch it, and then register for the full course. Okay, we'll be back from break in 3 minutes. Stand by. Bathroom break in 2 minutes. Stand by. Bathroom break in 1 minute. Bathroom break in 1 minute. Stand by. Hey, Joya.
Yes, and the facts. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the After History Network, recurring events and history and much, much more. We're going to give you an update on what's going on.
This is about self-preservation. We have to extinguish the fire of white supremacy to necessary consequences. Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation WFDF here in Detroit. All right, the calling number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Okay, I want to go to, we're discussing the release of the police video showing the beating of Tyre Nichols. And I saw it. I saw the video right as it was being released. Okay, we shared it live. Roland shared it live on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So I had to brace myself for it. I don't like to see African people brutalized, especially by other African people. I don't like to see that. So I watched basically. Well, I saw probably most of the video. One point that is being brought up at the end of the video is that one of the African American officers says to another black officer, they allege that Tyre tried to grab one of the officer's guns. And it seems like, I could be wrong, but it seems like they're trying to concoct a alibi, a story after the fact to justify beating him. Now, they said this on the scene. They said he tried to grab one of the officer's guns. Even if he tried to grab one of the officer's guns, why did it take about 22 minutes for him to be rendered any type of first aid after he was sitting there up against the car, handcuffed behind his back? And why, even after he was handcuffed behind his back, why was he still being punched and kicked? Why did they stand him up and one of the officers punched him in the face, it appears, while he was handcuffed behind his back? So it seems like at least two of the officers, it appears, seems like they're trying to concoct a story after the fact to then justify what they did. All right, I want to go to this clip here. This is clip number 1. This is from Roland Martin Unfiltered, and this is right before the video was released, and we speak to a doctor who's the chair of the Department of Pathology at Howard University about the independent autopsy that was done. The independent autopsy that was done on Tyre Nichols. Let's go to clip 1, Doug.
Where are the unions? Where does the Fraternal Order of Police stand on this? We have not heard from you. We want to hear from you. We want to hear you say that what happened to Tyre, what happened to this family, should never, ever happen again. That you condemn the brutality, the savagery, the terrorism, the heinousness, the vulgarity of these actions. And we should all stand for that. You don't have to be a police union. We all have to just have a soul and a heart.
Folks, that was Antonio Romanucci, one of the attorneys for the Tyre Nichols family. This is how Christopher Wray, the FBI director, how he described that body camera footage that's going to be released in less than an hour of the death of the beating of Tyre Nichols.
Memphis is obviously tragic. I've seen the video myself, and I will tell you, I was appalled. I'm struggling to find a stronger word, but I will just tell you I was appalled. The FBI, working with the Justice Department, takes great pride in our color of law investigations, and we will pursue, as has already been announced, an investigation here, and we'll do it professionally, without fear or favor, by the book, as I think is expected of us. As far as preparation, all of our field offices have been alerted to work closely with their state and local partners, including in particular, of course, in Memphis, in the event of something getting out of hand. But I would just add my voice to the attorney generals and to the families to whom my heart goes out, that there's a right way and a wrong way in this country to express being upset or angry about something, and we need to make sure that if there is that sentiment expressed here, it's done in the right way.
The family had an independent autopsy done on Tyre Nichols. Here to discuss that and those injuries is Dr. Roger Mitchell Jr., chair and professor of the University Department of Pathology. He was not involved in that independent autopsy. My panel also joining me here. Let's welcome Michael Imhotep, host of the African History Network show, Matt Manning, civil rights attorney, and later we'll be joined by Breonna Cartwright, political strategist. Dr. Mitchell, based upon the results of the independent autopsy, just walk folks through what it revealed.
Yeah, so, the independent autopsy suggested that there was excessive bleeding, but I would proffer that the full autopsy and the independent autopsy is going to reveal what we call in forensic pathology multiple blunt force trauma. Multiple blunt force trauma is, fancy terms for bruises, contusions, breaks, and fractures, and hemorrhage or bleeding. And so anytime that someone sustains blunt force injuries, whether it's from, baton strikes, if that's what we end up seeing in the video, or boots, or punches, hands, and fists, those reveal and end up having blunt force trauma as the reason. And blunt force trauma can lead to someone's death in multiple different ways. The majority of the time, if blunt force trauma is going to lead to someone's death, is particularly if it's at the hands of another. If it's an altercation or a fight that leads to death, it's going to be because of a brain injury. Or hemorrhage on the brain. Terms like subdural or subarachnoid will be terms that we would be looking for in the official autopsy and the second autopsy examination.
Matt Manning, when you hear all of that, when you hear these descriptions, it sounds like, again, this young man was simply beaten and stomped to death by these cops. It's amazing how fast they moved, but Romanucci said something that is important. It's amazing how quiet the police union is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's funny that we would have
All right, pause it right there. Pause it right there, Doug. Stand by. Okay, stop the clip. Okay, very quickly, we're coming up on the break. Very quickly, these 5 police officers do not belong to the Fraternal Order of Police. There's an article that I have dealing with that. So a lot of people look into the Fraternal Order of Police to say something. They should say something, but these 5 officers don't belong to that police union. Listen to the African History Network show on my. When we come back, we'll be joined Professor Kaba Kamene. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by, back from break in 4 minutes. After the interview with Professor Kaba, we're going to come back to this topic and finish this topic because I've got to get to the lawsuit that Benjamin Crump filed against the Florida Department of Education regarding the banning of the AP African American History course. Stand by. Back from break in 3 minutes. Back from break in 2 minutes. Back from break in 1 minute. Yeah, this is Michael. I need you to call him. I need you to call him. No, he's doing a telephone interview. I need you to call him, get him on the line. All right, thanks. All right, back from break in 1 minute. Stand by. After this interview with Professor Kaba, we're going to go back to the Tyre Nichols story.
Detroit. 910 an opinions expressed or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 910 AM Superstation Media. We've got topics, the guests, the opinions, and the facts. Supremacy, see lessons have consequences. Catch it all right. 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation, Future Radio. All right, the Hapi Day of Black Excellence is coming up Saturday, February 4th, 2023. It's taking place in New York City. And if you go to our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, we have information there that discusses it, that gives you information about it. Click on register here. You can purchase your ticket, and if you can't make it in person, you can watch the live stream of it. So we have the information on the homepage of our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. We had Professor James Small on a couple weeks ago. Infodushi Jehutimus, we should have him on later in the week. I should be doing an interview with him later in the week. But right now on the line, we have one of my teachers. You've seen him in the Hidden Colors documentaries. You've seen him in the Black Friday documentaries with me from director Rick Mathis. You've seen him in Elementary Genocide Part 3 from director Raheem Shabazz. He and I are in that documentary together. You've seen him in the Outer Darkness documentaries from Amadeus Christ. We have Professor Kaba Kamene. Okay. All right, we'll have him on in just a minute here. Okay, stand by. All right. Okay, so Professor Kaba will be on in just a minute. While we wait on Professor Kaba to come on, let me go back to there's another article I want to go to here. This is from Reuters. This deals with Tyre Nichols' death must galvanize efforts to reform police. Tyre Nichols' death must galvanize efforts to reform police. And Benjamin Crump, who is one of the family attorneys for the Nichols family, somebody's texting me. All right. Tyre Nichols' death must galvanize efforts to reform police, attorneys say. So Benjamin Crump has put this call out, as well as many other people. We know President Joe Biden has called on Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act as well. The attorney representing the family of Tyre Nichols, the black man who was fatally beaten by Memphis police officers, called on Sunday, January 29th, 2023, called Sunday for the U.S. Congress to pass police reform legislation, and said Tyre Nichols' mother hoped the tragedy could lead to a greater good. Benjamin Crump on CNN State of the Union with Dana Bash said, "Shame on us if we don't use his tragic death to finally get the George Floyd Policing Act passed." Okay, shame on us if we don't use his tragic death to get the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed. All 5 officers are scheduled to appear for a bond arraignment on February 17th at 9 a.m. in front of Judge James Jones of the Shelby County Criminal Court. Court records show Attorney Benjamin Crump said he and the Nichols family had spoken with President Joe Biden on Friday and urged him to use Nichols' death to galvanize support for the act's passage. Tyre Nichols' mother was coping with her son's death by believing he was destined to change the world, Benjamin Crump said on ABC's This Week on Sunday. Okay, so we'll come back to this story because, like I said before, the way that they're going about trying to get the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed is not going to work in the Senate. You need 60 votes in the Senate. There's only 2.5 black people in the Senate. And I say half because half the time Senator Tim Scott doesn't act like he's black. Number one. Number two, Republicans are in control of the House of Representatives now because of the 2022 midterm elections. And Kevin McCarthy in control of the House of Representatives, and the crazy QAnon Q plotters that are running the Senate, running the House, they're not going to vote for that. No Republicans in the House of Representatives voted for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act after George Floyd was killed. How many do you going to vote for this now? And they're in charge of the House. So you need a different strategy. Okay. let's go to the phone lines. On the phone line, we have one of my teachers, Professor Kaba Kamene, who's going to be one of the presenters on Saturday, February 4th, 2023, in New York City at the Hapi Day of Black Excellence. Welcome to the African History Network show, Professor Kaba. How you doing today?
My brother, Imhotep, I'm doing excellent, brother. Thank you for this opportunity, and looking forward to this conversation. There's so much going on, and I think we all can see the need for Black excellence right about now, which calls for critical thinking skills.
Exactly.
To understand, as you were saying earlier, what do we do now?
Right. Exactly. So, what is Black excellence? Let's talk about that first, and then we'll talk about the Happy Day of Black Excellence. Then I know you'd want to talk about the double trauma of watching the video of Tyre Nichols being beaten by 5 other Black men. I know you want to talk about that as well. But to talk about first, what is Black excellence?
Well, to me, Black excellence is our legacy. Black excellence is what we have demonstrated throughout our experience on this planet. We can go back to the original human family, the Trye and Buti. We can go to Course Kemet, which we call Egypt. We can go to the plantation.
Professor Kaba, you cut out for a minute. The Trye and who else? You cut out for a minute.
The Trye and Buti, the original human beings.
Okay, yeah.
We can go to the Course Kemet, we call Egypt. We can go to the plantations.
Mm-hmm.
We can go to hip hop.
Right.
Black excellence is our legacy. The fact that we're still here, brother Imhotep, the fact that we could have this type of conversation, it's critical thinking skills. It's getting us to a point where we can overcome all obstacles. And this is going to take critical thinking skills. Once again, for us to get to this.
Right. Right, exactly.
We know who we're dealing with. And, we understand what it is that you have to do. So that what we have to do is just come together, and this weekend, February 4th in Queens, at the Hapi Film, a presentation of Black excellence. What do we do? Where do we go from here?
Right. Okay, so people can visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. I'm getting some interference. Try to, Doug, check with Professor Kaba, make sure his signal is good, and because I'm getting some feedback. Visit our, see if you could get, see if you can get the signal straight, see if we can get the audio straight on his end, and we'll come back to him. Just let me know when we're good. Okay, thanks. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Right on the homepage, we have the information for the Happy Day of Black Excellence. Click on register here. So the Happy Day of Black Excellence is a day of excellence in Black culture through our creativity, intellectualism, and achievements in Black entrepreneurship, our Black genius. So tickets are start out at $33.46. Click here to get tickets. Also, they have tickets. If you can't attend in person, you can live stream it. You can watch the live stream. It's taking place at Jamaica Performing Arts Center, 153-10 Jamaica Avenue, Queens, New York. It's Saturday, February 4th, 2023, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're going to have Professor Kaba, you're going to have Professor James Small, Dr. Susan Tata. The host is Dr. Ken Harris from Detroit. Infadushi Jahutimas, Riza Islam. They're going to all be doing presentations there. Performances by the legendary hip-hop group Brand Nubian. Also, you have Lyrical Faith performing and Jamar Milton. So visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. We have information there. We're trying to get. So do we have Professor Kaba? Do we have him back on the line? All right. Okay, let's go.
How is it now?
Okay. Let's. I'm getting some feedback, but all right. Okay, so Professor Kaba, what is your presentation? What are you going to be doing at the conference? All right, we're going to try to get the signal straight because this is live radio, and we're going to try to get the signal straight. Doug, let me know when we have a signal straight. I got to go to the next topic. We'll go back to Professor Kaba. Okay, so Benjamin Crump and others are calling for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to be passed. Now, here's what's important to understand. Okay. Number one, I hear a lot of the Black Lives Matter activists, and I've seen them this all weekend on MSNBC, and they're calling for defund the police, but they're also calling for the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act to be passed as well. That is a contradiction, because the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act does not defund the police. It actually funds the police. Okay. Now, I don't know how many people are familiar with this. I've talked about this here on this show before. And there's an article from, let me see, what is that? I got to pull this up here from thehill.com that deals with this. But let me go to my file because we're running here difficulties. Let me know when we Kaba signal straight, please. There's an article from the Hill.com that deals with this, but Senator Cory Booker said the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act spends millions more on policing, millions more a year on policing. Okay. And so it's now what it does is it spends the money wisely. It spends the money responsibly. Okay. One of the things that the bill would do is lower the standard to prosecute officers at the federal level. It would lower it from willful intent down to recklessness. It would lower it from willful intent down to recklessness. Okay. And when you do that, because willful intent goes to state of mind, it's very hard to prove state of mind. Okay. You have to have like really blatant evidence, overwhelming evidence to prove state of mind. This is one of the things it would do. Now, there was also, people forget that Biden signed an executive order on the second anniversary of the death of George Floyd. That was May 25th, 2022. And Biden did what he can do within the Article 2 powers that he has given to him by the U.S. Constitution, because the majority of the control over policing is not at the federal level. It's at the state and local level. That's because of states' rights and the 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Okay, so I'm hearing a lot of this talk, but a lot of people really don't understand this and understand how these things are connected. So the coming up on another break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Let's to the African History Network on Michael Imhotep. We'll deal with this on the other side of the break. Hopefully we'll get all these technical issues straightened out. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Back from break in 2 minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 1 minute. Back from break in 1 minute. Stand by.
Topics here on the African History Network show will do recurring events of history and much, much more. We're going to give you an update on what's going on.
This is about self-preservation. We have to extinguish the fire of white supremacy to electrify consequences.
Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show. All right. We're going to try to do this again. Okay. So Professor Kaba on the line, and we were having some audio issues. We were having some audio issues. Do we have his audio now? Do you have Professor Kaba on the line? All right. Hold on. Yeah, just all right. Okay, so let's look at this article. Biden signs executive order on policing 2 years after George Floyd's death. Forget about this. Okay. People are saying, no, that's not true. That's blatantly false. And the people who took control of the House of Representatives, because not enough people for Democrats, the people who took control of the House are the very people who voted against the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. So a lot of this stuff, I don't even understand. I don't understand how people can say, oh, we want this bill, but then you let people take back control of the House who voted against what you said you wanted. President Biden signed an executive order aimed at reforming federal police practices and establishing a national database of police misconduct on Wednesday, 2 years to the day since George Floyd was murdered at the hands of police officers in Minneapolis. Quote, this executive order is going to deliver the most significant police reform in decades. It applies directly under law to only 100,000 federal law enforcement officers, because the president don't have control. The president, the executive branch of the federal government, does not have control over state and local police. The majority of control over policing is not at the federal level, is at the state and local level, which is why it's so important who you vote for governor, who you vote for in your state legislature, who you vote for mayor, county executive, city council, because that's where the majority of control over policing is over. So I hear a lot of this talk about the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, but not as much talk about reforming police or whatever you want to do at the local level. That's where the majority of the control is at. It applies directly under law to only 100,000 federal law enforcement officers, all the federal law enforcement officers, and through federal incentives and best practices that are attached to it. We expect the order to have significant impact on state and local law enforcement agencies as well, end quote, President Biden said. Now, the president, do we have Professor Kaba on the line? Let me know something. All right. Let's try this again. Okay. So Professor Kaba, tell us, what are you going to be doing at the Hapi Day of Excellence on Saturday, February 4th, 2023? What is your role in this? What's your participation?
You know, I consider it to be a meeting at the African Square. Just a conversation with the community as to where we go. Because before we actually, when we were first planning this, the unfortunate incident with Brother Tyre had not occurred.
Right.
And so now there are so many other things that we have to catch up on. And the Black excellence of what it is that we have to talk about. Where do we go from here as a people? What do we do? So I just like to discuss with the community some of the things that we face. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking necessarily about this incident.
Right.
Because, you know, Brother Imhotep, it's a little bit too much trauma on us.
Right.
It's not only the trauma of this wonderful young brother joining the ancestors, being murdered, it's also looking at the 5 officers of African descent that did it.
Right.
It is also the absence of that European American policeman that was also involved that they're not showing his face.
Right.
It's also the two people, I don't know who it is,
let me just say this.
EMT or whoever it is, that did not give the proper care.
Right.
So there's a lot that we have to still discuss, and it's very traumatic for us as a people to keep going through this.
Right. Hey, Professor Kaba, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So just very quickly, they will show the faces of the officers after they have been charged. So the main thing, the question that people are asking, like Attorney Benjamin Crump and the father of Tyre, is why hasn't the white officer been charged? Okay, so I just want to make the clear distinction. They won't show the face before charges are filed. I just want to make the clear distinction on that. Okay, so they need to charge the white officer, then they'll show his face. Okay, so but go ahead.
But that's the question.
Right.
The question is, why hasn't that happened?
Right. Why haven't charges been filed?
And so because, yeah, you know, I understand the law aspect of this, Brother Imhotep, and to the family that's listening, but there's another reality that we're facing, because right now those 5 faces are being flashed in front of us.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And the psychological impact is that it was only us.
Right.
So we have to understand who the players are. Where were the supervisors involved in this?
Right.
Did those 5 just decide to do this on their own? They were not called in to do something. They did not let people know who exactly and how did it actually happen. So this still has to be dealt with along with the charges.
Right. Exactly.
So there's a lot that we still have to deal with. But most importantly, I'm thinking of us as a people, the trauma. I'm thinking of Brother Tyre's family, the trauma, the intergenerational, transgenerational, what our sister Joy Degree constantly is telling us about how we hand down this pain. And what about our children who are watching this? What about our children who are being impacted by this? Have we spoken to them about it? Because we're kind of giving them trauma as we go along.
Right, exactly. Post-traumatic slave.
And what about all the other African American police that are really serving the community?
Yeah. So
what about them?
Right. When you mentioned Dr. Joy DeGruy, you're referring to post-traumatic slave syndrome. Her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome.
Yeah.
For those that don't know. Okay. So yeah. You're talking about this double trauma. Now, let people know how they can get in contact with you. You have a new book out, Shabaka Stone for Children as well. Give people your information and talk about the Shabaka stone.
Yes, family. Absolutely, family. You go to my website, www.kabakamene.com. KABAKAMENE.com, and you'll be directed to put your email in, and you'll receive a 6-day e-course, a free 6-day e-course with a free study guide. You can also go to the link in my bio in my Instagram, Kaba Kamene.
Right.
And my books are listed there. My book, Spirituality Before Religion, is there. My book on Shabaka Stone, which is African astronomy and the study of exactly where do we go from here. And it was so dynamic in terms of the response, I decided to write a book for the children, to be able to teach our children cosmology.
Right.
And it just becomes very important that we understand. I was impacted by African cosmology by reading the book Stolen Legacy.
Yeah,
by Dr. George G.M. James.
Right.
Back in 1976.
Right.
And when I was introduced to the Memphite text and the Shabaka stone, I decided that I have to write a book. So it took me this long to do it, but I've been researching this and teaching astronomy for a very long time. My background is New York City Board of Ed.
Right.
And so I encourage us to go ahead and do what we have to do as it relates to Black excellence, family. We are a people who have gone through so much and continue to go through so much that we have to understand how great we really are. Makes no difference what station in life you are. It's important for you to understand if you are Black and still alive in 2023, you're a miracle.
Yes.
Brother Imhotep, it wasn't meant for us to be able to have this type of conversation with our community.
Right.
We made this happen. Nobody did this for us. You and I go back a long ways, brother.
Yes.
Nobody gave this to you.
You're right about that.
I'm so proud of your success and your development.
Oh, yeah.
Every day and every way you're improving what it is that you're doing as it relates to your broadcasting skills. Nobody did this for you. You did this for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There were people that did help, as they helped me. There were people that did reach out, but it was your Black excellence that brought you to the African History Network.
Yeah, because you and I both know
and
this is not easy work. You and I both know this is not easy work. All right. So
not at all.
Hey, hold the line. I know we had technical difficulties with you. Hold the line. We're coming up on a break. We're gonna hold you over for a few more minutes. You got a few more minutes, Professor Kaba? Okay.
Sure, brother. We'll make it happen.
Okay, stand by. Okay, you listen to the African History Network show on Michael Imhotep. We have Professor Kaba for a few more minutes. Then we're going to go back to Tyre Nichols. Then I want you to hear about the lawsuit that Attorney Benjamin Crump has filed against the Florida Department of Education because of their ban on the AP African American History course. You listen to the African History Network show on Michael Imhotep. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Also, you can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App. $ the AHN show through Cash App and through PayPal, paypal.me /the AHN show. And we have the information on the homepage of our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. This helps us keep doing the research, stay on the air, keep broadcasting this show and our other shows as well, pay some of the bills, etc. We'll be back in a few minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. Back from break in 4 minutes, everybody. I'm speaking with Professor Kaba Kamene. Then is an article I'm trying to find. So I got so many articles. I don't know where the hell this thing is. It should be. let me see. What is it was dealing with George Floyd. CBS News. It was dealing with God damn it. I don't know where that article is. I gotta find that. Back from break in 4 minutes. Stand by. That was back from break in 1 minute. Stand by. Please.
Now, we have a number of different topics here on the ABC Network Show. We do recurring events and history and so much. We're going to give you an update on what's going on.
This is about self-preservation. We have to extinguish the fire of white supremacy. See, let's just have consequences.
Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network. We're speaking with back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation WFDF. All right, we're speaking with Professor Kaba Kamene, and we're talking about the Hapi Day of Black Excellence. We're talking a little bit about Tyre Nichols as well, and the video that was released of him being beaten by 5 black police officers, and he died 3 days later. And we're talking about Black excellence as well. Okay, Professor Kaba, right before the break, you were talking about the Shabaka stone. Just give people a brief synopsis in 1 or 2 minutes what the Shabaka stone is, and talk about the book, The Shabaka Stone for Children.
The Shabaka stone was named after, or it has been named after the pharaoh, the Nefertiti, as we call them,
right,
of the 25th dynasty, about 710 BC.
Okay.
He had come up in through Egypt from Kush, and he had taken over the land, and he came upon a document called the Memphite Theology, which was an astronomical story of how the universe came into being. Mm-hmm. And he believed that the same way the universe came into being is how we live our lives. And if we understood how the cosmos came into being, then we would understand how we came into being and how we continue to become. And so I was so taken back by this story when I read it that I began to do a number of research projects on it, along with studying the astrophysicists of today's world. And what I do in Shabaka Stone, I do a comparative analysis between what our ancestors were talking about and what today's astrophysics talks about.
Okay.
And I've come to the conclusion that our ancestors knew more than we know today. And so Shabaka Stone is meant to help us live our lives and be able to move forward. We're doing it every day, whether we realize it or not. We just don't realize that it's embedded in our DNA. And so what Shabaka Stone does, it opens up the understanding of how we can get better at what we do in our lives. Black excellence. The black excellence of our ancestors that came before 710, during 710, and right now here in 2023. it is not just a book to know. It's a book that once you know better, you do better. And it was so profound to me that I converted it to be a book for children.
Okay.
Because our children need to know this. If we had known this when we were, if this was taught in the curriculum, when we study astronomy and biology and botany, if this had been taught when we were, our perspective on life would be different from what it is now.
Right.
Critical analysis.
Right. Okay. All right, brother. Give people your website. Let people know how they can get in contact with you once again.
Absolutely. My website, www.kamene.com. KABAKAMENE. My Instagram page, which I use the bulletin board, is at Kaba Kamene, KABAKAMENE. And my Cash App is Kaba Kamene 7, the number 7. Kaba Kamene 7. My email, KAE777 at AOL.com. Support your scholars. Support the African History Network family.
Absolutely.
You support Brother Imhotep. You support the Hapi on Black Excellence. You support the work that we're doing and all the other scholars out here. We'll support you. So keep on keeping on, family. It ain't over till we win.
All right. All right.
Solar power is the future wealth of the planet.
Right. Solar power. All right, Professor Kaba. It's good to always hear from you, brother. You take care. Hotep to you and the family, okay?
And my brother, the very best to you and to yours, brother. Looking forward to the future. Keep on keeping on, brother.
All right. Thanks. Peace. All right, everybody. That's all right, Hotep. That's Professor Kaba Kamene, one of my teachers. He'll be at the Hapi Day of Black Excellence. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. And we have information there dealing with that. Okay. I want to go to, this is what we're going to do. We're really pressed for time here. Larry wanted to call back in. Larry, call back in. You had a question. And then we'll get to another caller. But let me know when we have Larry on the line, please. Larry, I told Larry to call back after we interviewed Professor Kaba. So Larry, give us a call back. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Hold on, let me pull this up. We're going to go to clip number 2, Doug. This is comments at clip number 2. This is from Roland Martin Unfiltered. This is comments after the video was released. Okay. And you're going to hear from attorney Matt Manning, who's a civil rights attorney, I think, and you'll hear from me as well. So hold on just a second. Let me cue this up. This is going to be that's going to start up at the 127. What is it? 127, 127:16 mark. Doug, let's see here. Let's get that queued up. Let's go. Yeah, let's go to clip number 2, Doug. Doug, stand by. It's 1 hour and 27 minutes. 1 hour and 27 minutes into the clip. I got the markings. Okay. I've got the markings in the email I sent you. It's queued up at the 1 hour, 27 minute, 16 second mark.
Screaming at you, cussing at you, things like this. That's confusing. But third, I watched the interview that was done with Sarah Lynn Davis, the police chief, Memphis police chief today. And she said they reviewed numerous video cameras, different angles.
she said, still have not been able to substantiate why he was pulled over in the first place. The officer to pull him over said traffic stop. She said, after reviewing all the video cameras, different angles, different they still cannot substantiate why he was pulled over in the first place. So, this is another example, and unfortunately, these are all African-American police officers phenotypically, maybe not in thought, but phenotypically. This is another example why everybody should not be police officers. And hopefully, they are convicted and prosecute, get the longest sentence, because this is just inhumane, the way they're treating him.
Carol, let me know if we have this is another body cam footage here. Pull the audio up, please.
Okay, stop the clip. Stop the clip. Stop the. God damn it. All right, stop the clip. Stop the clip. Stop the clip. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. Just a minute, because we're having real technical issues. Okay. Let's go back to, I want to go back to this article here from, this is from CBS News. Biden signs executive order on policing 2 years after George Floyd's death. Okay. Read this article here. Then there was this an article from NBC News, NBCnews.com also, that deals with the 5 officers who were charged. And people forget this executive order that Biden did. Now, like I said before, we brought Professor Kaba on. The majority of control over policing is at the local, at the state and local level, not at the federal level. All right. Let me know if Larry calls back in. Doug, let me know if Larry calls back in, because I told him to call back after the interview with Professor Kaba. Thank you. Just come on the air. Let me know, because what is this? Okay, he hasn't called back yet. Now there was. All right, we're coming up on another break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Bathroom break in 4 minutes. Bathroom break in 2 minutes, everybody. Stand by. We're gonna go to this last because we had technical difficulties and they screwed up my time. So we're gonna go to this last story. I'm about to do a separate broadcast on my own platforms because I can't deal with these commercial breaks every 15 minutes and stuff getting screwed up. Hold on, I gotta send this damn clip here. Bathroom break in 1 minute. Oh shit.
After History Network show, we do with current events of history and much, much more. We're going to give you an update on what's going on. This is about self-preservation. We have to extinguish the fire of white supremacy. See, let's just have consequences.
Catch it all right here on 910 AM Superstation.
Welcome back to the African History Network show. All right. Attorney Benjamin Crump has filed a lawsuit on behalf of 3 students in the state of Florida. And this centers around the ban from the Florida Department of Education when it comes to the advanced placement African American history course. Okay, we talked about this. I talked about this on the Faraji Muhammad show, The Culture, last week. The African History Network show, we weren't on 9:10 a.m. WFDF live last Sunday, but I was on Faraji Muhammad show this past Thursday on the Black Star Media Network. I'll be back on his show also probably on Monday. So look out for that on Roland Martin's network. Florida gives its reasons for rejecting proposed AP African American Studies course. Okay, so we on my social media platforms, I've been rebroadcasting the segments from Faraji Muhammad show, and so follow me on social media because I'm on network and we rebroadcast our shows throughout the day. But I want to go to this article here is from CNN.com. Florida gives its reasons for rejecting proposed AP African American Studies course. This is from January 20th. On the readout with Joanne Reed, she spoke with one of the students who is one of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit. Okay, let's go to this clip. Student slam
warning to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, saying he will sue his administration if it continues to block an advanced placement course on African American studies from being taught in the state's high school. During the announcement, Crump was joined by the 3 high school students
really low.
who would be the lead plaintiffs in the lawsuit. In his latest war knowledge, DeSantis has rejected the AP's African American Studies program, saying the course, quote, significant. But as one of the students observed, plenty of other AP courses remain.
Certainly, there are other advanced placement histories, such as AP European History, AP U.S. History, and AP World History, all predominantly generated towards white people. By lacking an AP dedicated to the ones this country was built off the backs of, is further oppressing a group that has done more for this country than the country has done for them.
The legal challenge comes as Florida education reaches dystopian levels. Teachers in Manatee County are now forced to remove or cover unvetted books from classrooms and libraries to avoid felony charges. The College Board, which oversees AP classes, told our show that it would release a new framework for the AP course on February 1st, which is to be the first day of Black History Month. DeSantis has yet to kill Black History Month because it violates his Stop Woke Act, because it would make white children feel bad, which is illegal in Florida, nor has he banished February itself entirely from our calendar, at least not yet. Joining me now is State Senator Chevron Jones of Florida and Elijah Edwards, one of the 3 high school students who plans to sue Florida over its rejection of the AP African American Studies course. And thank you both for being here. I do want to name all 3 students who would be in this lawsuit. Is Elijah Edwards, who is here, and thank you for being here. Juliet Heckman, who's a junior, who's taken 4 AP courses. 3 were history related. Victoria McQueen, who's a junior, who's taken 6 AP courses. They are both juniors. Elijah, you're a sophomore, and why you wanted to take it, or why you would want to take it?
I want to take the class because, well, first of all, I'm Black. That was the first reason that I want to take the class. Another reason was recently I've been more open to learning about my history and where I came from, those that came before me. So I want to take the class so I can have a more teaching, have more intellectual conversations about the fact about it.
And Florida law says that they are required to teach African American studies, and they're required to teach something about the history. Do you feel that you've gotten a thorough education so far in school?
No, I really feel like I haven't, and I feel like what I have learned has been cut short or whitewashed in that sort of way, to where they don't give you the full extent of what happened. They only give you part of it. They're trying to seem better than it actually was.
And what do you see that you can still take art history, you can still take Japanese language and culture, German language and culture, Italian language and culture, and Spanish language and culture, but you can't take African American history? And you can take European history.
Personally, I feel like it's unfair, unjust. I feel like it shows the blatant racism that's displayed by Ron DeSantis and other people in power. And I just feel like, honestly, I just feel like it's stupid.
Let's bring you in, State Senator Chevron Jones. Thank you for always being available to us. Because, I wanted to hear from this young man, because the reality is the people, but in a world where predominantly of color, in Florida, 39% of the total. So what Ron DeSantis is essentially saying is that students of color may not even learn about their own history, and that white students have to be protected from Black history. They've been very clear that they want everything cut out of it, the bell hooks pieces, anything that they don't like politically. They don't like the political stance of Angela Davis, take her out of the course. What do you make of the College Board seeming to kind of cave, saying they're going to come back with a revised curriculum?
Well, Joy, it's really unfortunate, but I also want to lift up one fact that you just made mention of, the fact that Elijah have all they were prepared to take this course in the next semester. And I also think it's important for us to point out that 60 schools across the country piloted this program. Teachers were at school to make it clear what program would be outlined as. Mind you, students had already experienced that this is an advanced level course, and they opt in or they can opt out of us to be able to receive the college credit. And the fact that the governor, as we know, continues to go down this route, we've had this conversation before to where they are trying to make it clear. We already are not receiving Black history, African American studies that we should be receiving. And that's been since I've been in school. So why are we continuing to go down this route to lie to students and not give them the opportunity to know the truth about our history and what we have contributed to just the state of Florida, all to this country?
So Ron DeSantis has claimed that this course has a political agenda.
FDF, HistoryNetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Register for my online history courses. Also, you can support us there. $ AHN Show through Cash App, also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Watch for me on Faraji Muhammad Show, The Culture, on and Roland Martin Unfiltered on Fridays. If you want me to do a presentation for a group or organization, also visit our website and email me as well. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. Those watching on our social media platforms, keep watching. I'm going to keep going. We'll talk to you next week. Peace. All right, stand by. Okay, so this article right here, I know Joanne Reed said that it seems like the Florida board, the college board is going to cave. But this article right here from Education, edweek.org, Education Week, edweek.org, edweek.org. College board, no state has sway over final version of AP African American Studies. This is from January 26, 2023. Okay. And in this article, it says the College Board effectively told its members Thursday. So that was Thursday, January 26, that it will not consider input from states or districts. It will not, N-O-T, it will not consider input from states or districts when releasing the final version of the pilot Black history class that Florida banned. Since Florida made national news by, let me see if I can increase the font size more. Let me get a subscription here. Since Florida made national news by banning a preliminary version of a new advanced placement African American studies course that the College Board had been piloting in 60 high schools across the country, the organization that designs AP courses, advanced placement courses, has been silent about whether it would consider the state's offer to negotiate on the contents of the course. The only statement it had made so far was that the final version of the course will be released next month. But in a letter emailed on January 26th, the College Board told its members, and just a second here, let's try to increase the font size some more here. But in a letter emailed on January 26th, the College Board told its members, which includes school districts and universities across the country, that no lawmakers will have the chance to weigh in on the final version of the Black history course. Quote, no states or districts have seen the official framework that will be released on February 1st, 2023, much less provided feedback on it, the letter said. This course has been shaped only by the input of experts and long-standing AP principles and practices. This course has been shaped only by the input of experts and long-standing AP principles and practices. Now, on January 12th, 2023, the Florida Department of Education sent a letter to the College Board explaining that the AP African American Studies course would be banned from the state for lacking, quote, educational value and historical accuracy, end quote. Florida passed passed a law called the Stop Woke Act, WOKE, in 2022, rejecting critical race theory, the New York Times 1619 Project, and some lessons on race and racism. The Education Department told the College Board that some aspects of the pilot course allegedly violated state law. Okay, watch the broadcast. Watch the video that I'm re-airing on our social media platforms of me being on Faraji Muhammad's show, The Culture, because I go through and we break down what the Florida Department of Education objected to. There were 6 points that they objected to, and it was 6 topics out of 100 topics taught in the course. Okay, so go check that out. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. All right, and when I'm on my own, when I'm broadcast on my social media platforms, I don't have commercials every 15 minutes and don't have to deal with just it's goes much smoother. Let me put it like that. All right. If you want me to do a presentation for your group or organization, please email me at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Black History Month is coming up. ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Email me, and we can make it happen either virtually or in person. Visit our website. We have the information for the online classes that I teach on Saturdays and Sundays: Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We had a great class this weekend, Saturday, January 20th. We had an excellent class. I offered a free class session. Everybody who's watching this show right now, everybody who's watching, who watch on podcasts, who will listen on audio podcasts, you should sign up for the free session that we did, and then sign up for the actual course. Okay. Go to our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Scroll down the website. You see the information. 16-week online course, Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Maafa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Okay. So we do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. And we have the link right here, free session, January 28th. You can register for it and you can go watch it. So even if you missed it, that session is archived, just like all the other sessions that I've done. After you watch the free session, register for the full course. The full course is on sale, only $60, regularly $130. The type of information I share, you're not going to find that most likely in one complete course. And I've done, I think we did 14 previous class sessions before the one we did this Saturday. So we did with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. I do a PowerPoint presentation. We have book references, articles, video clips. I've been studying history 31 years. I've been teaching this class since 2017, on and off since 2017. So the let's see, in Saturday's class, we dealt more with the beginnings of the transatlantic slave trade, and we talked about the Asiento de Negros in King Charles V, August 1518, which greatly expands the transatlantic slave trade. This is Spain. After the Portuguese start the transatlantic slave trade in 1441 with Anton Gonzalez going into Mauritania, taking out 12 Africans. We deal with the transatlantic slave trade escalating. Also, we talked about criticism of Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr.'s op-ed article in 2010 in the New York Times dealing with ending the slavery blame game, and he talked about how after he based upon Gates' flawed analysis, he says that Africans were equally culpable for involvement in the transatlantic slave trade, which is blatantly false. We dealt with how Europeans came with the gun and the cannon, and Africans didn't have a match for that. We also talked about, we talked some about the destruction of Black civilization. We talked about the Portuguese going into the Congo, but also we dealt with the Portuguese fighting against Queen Nzinga, who became queen in 1626. So we went through and we looked at what happened when the kingdom of Matamba, where Queen Nzinga was, modern day Angola, fought against the Portuguese. Okay. We also looked at an excerpt of the book Fighting the Slave Trade from Dr. Sylvian Diouf, because Africans fought against the slave trade in different ways, and some of them, in some African ethnic groups, participated in the slave trade to varying degrees to gain the weapons, to gain the firearms, to gain the guns and relationships to attack the transatlantic slave trade. So we're going to see Queen Nzinga, after her brother Bondi, King Bondi, after he commits suicide because of the increasing tributes that the Portuguese are demanding of the kingdom of Matamba. And the tributes are African captives. The Portuguese kept demanding more and more. King Bondi commits suicide over this. So Nzinga becomes queen in 1626. There's a period of time where she sides with the Dutch to fight against the Portuguese. Now, the Dutch are slave traders also, but Europeans are coming with weapons that we don't have. And many African villages in African kingdoms are siding with one European to get guns to defend themselves against another group of Europeans. And also they're at odds with different African villages and ethnic groups who are also being armed with guns by Europeans. So you have different groups who are in the middle trying to defend themselves against this and also attack Europeans. But you're going to have guns to attack them as well and defend yourself, defend your village against raids from neighboring villages that are coming with guns also that was supplied to them by Europeans. So this is something that Sylvian Diouf deals with in the book Fighting the Slave Trade. So we discussed all this in our class on Saturday. All right. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Okay. And please register for the full course, because it takes a lot for me to teach these classes. It's a lot of time, energy, and it costs me money to teach these classes also, because the 2 digital platforms that I teach the classes on, I got to pay for that every month. Okay. People don't understand what's involved in being able to teach these classes. And I'm doing constant research, adding more to the class as well. And this is one of the binders that let me see. This is, okay, the top binder is the one from the class I taught today. That's from the Civil War, Civil Rights Movement, and Black Power class. This this one right here, this is, this binder right here. This is part of the content of the class that we teach. There's over 60 articles, every reference. We have book references. I scan the pages of the books. We show you the references on the screen. Everything from Tua Tony Browder's books to Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery and the Rise of European Capitalism. There's a number of different books that we reference also. You don't have to buy any of these books to follow along in class. But this type of information that we deal with in the class, you're not going to find many other places. So visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. You can sign up for the free session, then register for the full course, and you can register for both classes for only $100. Okay. Once again, even after the course is over with, you can go back a year from now, 2 years from now, watch the entire class. Okay, because it'll all be archived. All right. If you like this type of information, this show doesn't happen with no resources. It doesn't happen with no money. I'm broadcasting right now, not through Facebook or YouTube. I'm broadcasting through Restream, which allows me to broadcast on Facebook and YouTube multiple pages at the same time, but allows me to rebroadcast. Okay, so there's a service I have to pay for every month. You can support the African History Network, $ the AHN show through Cash App, $ the AHN show through Cash App. Also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN show, paypal.me/the AHN show. And then wherever you get your audio podcast from, search for the African History Network show. We're on about 9 different audio podcast platforms. We're on Castbox. We're on Castbox, iTunes, FM Player, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and some other ones. Okay, because I have a channel through Blog Talk Radio that I pay for every month. And I upload the audio podcasts of these various shows, and they put them on 9 different podcast platforms. Okay. So if you want to advertise with the African History Network, email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com, ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. We have the information on the homepage of our website also. Our current promotion, buy 1 month, get 1 month free. So African-American business owners, you can advertise with the African History Network. We haven't had new advertisers. I haven't been promoting it in the past few months, but we're coming up on African-American History Month. And if you have a Black-owned business, you want to advertise with the African History Network, whether you're a brick and mortar store, whether you are a e-commerce store, if you have a bookstore, catering service, fitness service, you sell African jewelry, African clothing, you sell Western clothing, whatever it is, email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Current promotion, buy 1 month, get 1 month free. We take your 30-second and 60-second commercial. If you don't have one, we can create one for you at no additional charge. Now, soon I'm about to start charging to do these commercials because it's a 30-second, 60-second commercial, and sometimes people send me text or copy that's like 2 minutes in length. Before you send the copy, read it yourself and record it. Record yourself saying it, please. Because if you send me 2 minutes worth of copy, that has to be cut down to 30 seconds or 60 seconds. That takes time. Okay, because I'm gonna send it back to you and say, send me back 30 seconds to 60 seconds. I mean, these are the type of things I go through. All right, but we reach thousands of people on a daily basis on our shows, the rebroadcast of our shows on our social media platforms, but also the audio podcasts of our shows as well. Okay, so you can advertise with the African History Network right now. We can get you up and running in 1 or 2 days. And we have 3 advertising packages. Also, our current promotion, buy 1 month, get 1 month free. So in the rebroadcast of our shows, and also what I'm doing, I'm the segments that you see me share from Faraji Muhammad's show as well, The Culture. We have ads in that, and that will be on audio podcast platforms. Segments that you see me rebroadcast on our social media platforms from Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like when Roland and I got into it over Black Republicans with white wives. Okay, we're going to have commercials and all that. So we're steadily expanding the content that we have here at the African History Network. So you can promote your African American owned business, bring on new customers, also bring on new clients. Email us at ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Now we have limited space. We only have about 5 or 6 more. We can only bring on about 5 or 6 more advertisers. Okay, so You want to act now. Now, you may say, look, I want to advertise, but I want to wait a week or 2 weeks, or I want to wait a month to run the ads. That's fine. You can pay for the ads today. It reserves your spot. You can run the ads a month from now, 2 months from now, however you want to do it. Okay. So that's fine. We've had people to do that in the past. Okay, so email us, ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com, and we can get you up and running. All right, look, we have to get out of here. Thanks for joining us today. Be sure to support the African History Network. Sign up for the free class session. Once you watch that class, you want to sign up for the full course. Also, you can use the information in the classes. You can use that information with your children as well. I would say the content is PG-13. We did a class today. The second class that I teach is from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Okay, and we did a class Sunday, January 29th. We dealt with the Red Summer of 1919. We dealt with the Red Summer of 1919. We had 25 major race riots in this country. The year after World War I ends. Last class, last weekend, we dealt with World War I, 1914 and 1918. Today, we dealt with the Red Summer. We also dealt with how African-American men, African-American soldiers, veterans of World War I, took up arms to fight against white racist mobs when they came to attack African-American communities. They used the knowledge they had of military strategy and how to use weapons. They used that to protect the African-American community. Okay. We talked about that, and it was something else we dealt with. I can't remember now. We talked about that. Oh, we talked about the Great Migration, 1915, 1970, but also the role the movie The Birth of a Nation played in rejuvenating the Ku Klux Klan, because we talked about the rejuvenation of the Ku Klux Klan, the second incarnation of the Ku Klux Klan that was largely inspired by the movie The Birth of a Nation that debuted February 8th, 1915. And in the movie The Birth of a Nation, the Ku Klux Klan are the heroes of the movie, okay? And they show the Klan lynching a black man who tried to rape a white virgin. This is in the movie. This movie calls Race Riots in the Streets. We talked about the role that the NAACP played in protesting against the movie The Birth of a Nation in 1915. Charlotta Bass in California, who was the publisher of the California Eagle black newspaper, and William Monroe Trotter, who was in Boston, who was the publisher of the Boston Guardian black newspaper. They led protests, and the NAACP led protests against this movie because we knew it was detrimental to our existence. And this movie was used as a recruiting tool by the Ku Klux Klan, which helped rejuvenate the Klan. So by the 1920s, there were 5 million members of the Ku Klux Klan, whereas leading up to 1915, the Klan had largely died out because they were founded December 24th, 1865 on Christmas Eve. And this was a few months after the Civil War ends. When April 9th, 1865, when General Robert E. Lee surrenders to General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, which basically, for all practical purposes, ends the Civil War. It's going to go on for another 18 months because there were smaller Confederate armies like General Joseph E. Johnston's army of Tennessee and Nathan Bedford Forrest's army. So terms of surrender had to be negotiated with those different generals. All right. So we dealt with all that in today's class and more. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1800. We deal with history from 1800 to 1968. This is a 16-week online course. This time around, it ended up being 16 weeks. Normally it's 12 weeks. So you can register for that one also. We did a free class session on January 22nd. You can register for that free class session. Once you watch that, you'll want to register for the full course. Okay. You can use the information in both of these classes with your children as well. and break these classes up into smaller learning sessions for your children, especially if you do homeschooling for your children. This is a great resource also. Okay, so I don't do a lot of cursing, and it's not overly graphic or anything like that. The content, it's nothing like that. Okay, all right. So we have all that at our website, and we have a bundle pack where you can register for both classes for only $100. That's a $260 value. Okay, so if everybody watching right now registers for these classes, registers for the full class, that will allow us to take this to the next level dealing with the African History Network. And that will, because it takes a lot of financial resources on a monthly basis to do all that I do and do the research, broadcast the shows, do 9:10 a.m. 9:10 does not pay me to do radio. I've been doing radio 9:10 a.m. WFDF. It'll be 7 years come April of 2023. They don't pay me to do radio. Okay, they just don't charge me for airtime. All right, look, we have to get out of here right now. It's correct. Wrong behavior is not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.